make it working. The contribution of scientists, on the contrary, is somewhat more difficult here. They should help in selecting, for example, relevant health symptoms of the rivers, and that's really a task for all of us. There are, of course, a wide variety of river features that can be measured with varying accuracy and a broad range of spatial and temporal scales. And I understand we'll be talking here from small scales of river reaches towards large basin scales that will be tackled here this meeting. Maybe I will not go into details. We will be, of course, talking about increasing pressure on the particular elements of the river systems. We will talk about various relationships which usually are non-linear, and this is our problem, that we need to find out what is the real problem. But the communication between the scientists and citizens is probably one of major driver for change in the water policy, and this is probably one of the major things that we should talk about here. It's the main driver in water policy towards more environmentally oriented river basin management. And I think it might be the main task of our talk. Of course, let me mention and let us know that in recent year there has been serious widespread flooding within many countries of the countries that you came from. We need to discuss how to protect our societies from floods, but on the other hand side, we have discussion about droughts. Right now in Poland, although we have some rain, but we have a serious debate about drought that we deal with in many parts of Poland, and actually this is the problem that we more and more have to face. So I don't want to prolong this introductory talk, so let me just wish all our guests, all the participants who are here with us, and I'm so happy that we can meet face to face as well. But I understand that some of you had to stay at home, so you observe us through your computer facilities. So let me wish you, the scientists, the decision makers, but also the media, a profitable and enjoyable Congress, and I'm looking forward to the outcome of the Congress that we hopefully will have at the end. Thank you very much. I am not going to finish yet. That was the end of my this part, but we have also kind of a nice ceremony now, and I want to say that one of the most important awards that the Academy can hand to is the medal of the Polish Academy of Sciences. And the decision was from last year, but this is the first chance that we can do it in person. And I would like to invite Dr. Giuseppe Arduino to us. You might remember that he used to work for UNESCO in Paris as chief of the Ecohydrology, water quality and water education section in the division of water sciences. It's UNESCO International Hydrological program. It happened since 2013. And of course, I don't have to introduce Giuseppe. Everybody here knows him well, knows all his achievements. But let me mention one aspect. The time when Giuseppe was in charge of the Ecohydrology, water quality and water education section was also and is also an excellent time for the European Regional Center for Ecohydrology, one of the institutes that I mentioned that work under the umbrella of the Polish Academy of Sciences, the center which is a UNESCO center. We know how you were involved in the success of that institute, but I also know how much you are involved in various kinds of meetings that we organized here in Poland. Here you visited Bouc very often. You mentioned already today that this is your first visit to Warsaw. So I am very happy that you also came here, but you were also our guest at the Congress that I mentioned last year, unfortunately only through internet means. But I have to say that the jury of the medal didn't have any doubts, and it's my privilege to hand you this medal of the Polish Academy of Sciences. Unfortunately, the diploma is in Polish, so you need to learn. But it is for all your achievements for the development of the world, but also Polish science and its association with the societal role of science. So let me hand it. It's your own.
Would you like to say a few words?
If I may.
Yes.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very touched, and it's a very emotional moment for me. And I'd like to thank the Polish Academy of Sciences. And I'm very honored to have such an award from a prestigious Academy of Sciences. You know, when we might be scientists, but when we join UNESCO, we become like Andras used to say, we become humble civil servant, and we're not scientists anymore, but we have the great opportunity to get in touch with outstanding scientific networks, and we have also the possibility to contribute to the coordination of this network. So this is what happened to me, and this is not only the merit I have, it has been also a joint effort from other colleagues and colleagues that took on board the Ecohydrology program at the very beginning, like Philippe Piper and Shabazz Khan later on, and others. And so thank you again. It's very touchy. I have just a small anecdote, because I received already more than 10 years ago an award from another Academy of Sciences. This was the Vietnamese Academy of Sciences, for a project that we run in the coastal areas of Vietnam. And it was funny because on that day of the celebration, it was me, and there was a scientist from Russia, and the president of the Academy of Science, and his Vietnamese English. We all have our own English. I have my Italian English, so this person had this Vietnamese English and said, you 7 years, only award, diploma. Here, Russia, over 10 years, medal. Next time, you 10 years, also medal. Anyway, thank you so much again. I'm very touched with that.
Thank you very much. Now, I think before I will ask our distinguished guest and director of division of the program, I would like to say a few words about rationale of Symposium, because we really have a serious challenge to do. The last meeting, Intergovernmental Council in April, which we attended with Andreas, the general conclusion underlined by Andreas was, we need to accelerate. We have to accelerate SDG. And of course, now I will try very briefly to what extent ecohydrology is making effort to accelerate up to now, and eventually we will decide how to focus the effort to accelerate further, because the problems are really getting more and more serious. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 5th symposium organized by Polish team, European Center, and Chinese colleagues. One is in China, one in Poland. Now, turn in Poland, unfortunately, COVID in China stopped our Chinese friends. They are not here with us. However, I would like to say that the beginning was thanks to European Commission, because there was a European Commission China Government Forum on science, and they select ecohydrology one of priority area to cooperate between China and I, with Professor Guo, were signing this agreement. And during this time, as we see, the water becomes central for sustainable development goals. However, also the other dimensions of our cooperation, because in the Academy of Science framework, I coordinate European part of Inter-Academy Panel Program on Water, and Professor Xia Yun, who is in the central, was coordinating Chinese, and really we start cooperation which is still developing, and I believe will be developing. So thank you for all that was done up to now, and we are looking further Polish-Poland-Chinese cooperation. But as I said, everything really starts, decision of Andreas, who 25 years ago decided to launch the program which integrates hydrology, ecology, and this is another palace. This is in Poznański Palace in Łódź, when we had a symposium opening the European Regional Center for Hydrology. Thank you, Andreas. So, but the most important conclusion from opening speech, our distinguished guests, which I think are very important. On the screen you have two bold conclusion. First, how to accelerate the sustainability goals achievement, go nature-based solution, go digital. And I think, thank you for this type of distinguish these two elements, and I hope in your lecture you highlight this aspect further. So, how to convince the people to change the paradigm from kind of tunnel thinking to broad understanding of the interaction, because water is a driver, hydrological cycle, integrating all environmental processes, but also socioeconomic. The idea was to put acronym, which is forcing our thinking toward the kind of holistic view. This acronym here is WBRC. Water should be always managed with parallel improvement, bioproductivity, biodiversity, society, means services for society, resilience to climate change. But without involvement, society is impossible. That's why culture education, this is crucial, which has to be taken care and is concordant with UNESCO mission. This acronym is fundamental for change from this mechanistic paradigm to evolutionary ecosystemic, when we will be greening the world on the basis understanding the interaction between hydrological cycle and ecosystem, society, and we will do engineering harmony. So anyway, here is evolution of the paradigm, and I will not go to detail. However, the key element of ecohydrology is regulation. We have to regulate processes, and 25 years, it was not broadly acceptable. Everybody was saying enough conserve. Now when the ecological footprint is almost 2, we have to reverse to 1. We have to regulate processes on the base understanding from molecular to catchment scale to global scale. This processes, this is our challenge, and we have to harmonize with hydroengineering infrastructure. And here we have our partner, who Director Dybkowska-Stefek, with whom we just were shaping concept how to improve navigation on Odra River, still improving the all ecological potential and WSR. And I think we are very happy that decision makers as director of department are involved here and are eager to cooperate with our further. So systemic solution, that's the fundamental. The single efforts always are wasting the money. The understanding of the process and in composing synergy, this is fundamental, and scientific background when we start from advanced model of processes, testing models, and giving a chance to discover emerging properties of the system, giving chance to develop innovative solution, innovative nature-based solution. And next has to be tasted, like in UNESCO programs, giving great opportunity to cooperate, have all network centers in different environment, different climatic zones. This is further upgrading of these different solutions. So example is controversial issue, which is concerning the river damming. Here we will have a presentation about Amber, big project about dams in Europe. And of course, classic dams are somehow disturbing river continuum, processes, biodiversity, so on. But it's our proposition generated on the basis, the understanding, the functioning of this river system, that we can build lateral reservoir, which is supplied only by pulses which are having low concentration of the pollutants, because river is pulsing all the time. And the why to take all this hydro-picking big loads of pollutants, let them go along the river continuum, deposit in the floodplain, feed the delta. They have some ecological function which Luis Chichara will demonstrate how important is this supply from the river catchment. So there's many elements, but how we have to change the teaching, because lots of the teaching here. First, information. Okay, this is done. We know how to monitor. But second is knowledge. Processes, understanding, translation processes into solution. And third, wisdom. How everything harmonize and also harmonize society needs with enhanced system potential. And that's why education has to be changed. Here we have a recent pattern. We have a broad background from high school. Next, we're getting specialized, and 2 specialists, hydrologists on blue, ecologists, and we're sitting on the top of 2 chimneys. And there's no dialogue, because we have a different terminology, for example. That's why it's necessary to add third step after specialization, because it's important. It's necessary to make effort to understand the functioning, the other discipline of science, especially hydrology, ecology, hydrology, and this build up the systemic solution. And foresight. Foresight is not only for prediction of future, not only for, let's say, management of future, but foresight for creation, desirable vision of future. And this is an example, this network is an example how we use foresight to optimize eco-business and biotechnologies in which region by identification, key elements and potential connection, and how to build up synergy just to achieve WBSR. So I think now if we are looking for evolution of ecohydrology, go like this. The screens are, sorry, a little bit small, but from model through the WBSR to WBSRC, but I believe that we will add during this symposium WBSRC and policy and law, because now this evolution of the science come to the level when we have to translate. And I'm very happy that the strategic decision maker join us today, and we'll be discussing with them how to do it, especially in law, policy and law afternoon session. Especially do we have a chairman of the session who had a long-term experience to do it in Dundee, the policy law UNESCO Center of Water Law. Thank you very much. And now, after this introducing why we're here and what we will try to do, I have a honor and privilege. I hope that Director Amani will share with us his thinking about the goal of this symposium and concordance of the goal with strategy of UNESCO in Intergovernmental Hydrological Program 9th phase. Do we have a connection? Welcome. We are very honored, Director Amani, that you are with us. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Professor Zalewski, dear colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm really honored to be with you. Unfortunately, connected online. I will have to physically because for some circumstances I will have to with you. But my colleague Rama Fitri, who is now in charge of coordinating hydrological activity, is physically with you. So first of all, I would like to thank and congratulate really our former colleague Giuseppe Avino for his medal of the Polish Academy of Science. It's really a very important recognition of all the great work we delivered vis-a-vis the coordination of this very important program. I want to also take this opportunity because of the presence of two giants, and also I can say father of this idea of ecohydrology, of course, Professor Andrea Zalewski, and also Professor Zalewski, who were at the beginning of this idea, as indicated by Professor Zalewski 25 years ago. And we have seen things have evolved. We cannot address the issue of water resources without looking into the holistic way, considering the environmental aspect, globally, considering systemic approach. So thank you very much for this idea. I think it's now the right approach forward in addressing complex water. I want also to take this opportunity and congratulate the committee, including, of course, Polish Academy of Science, European Ecology Center of UNESCO, the UNESCO Chair for the Hydrology and Applied Ecology, Poland. And I want to also sincerely appreciate the fact that the UNESCO is as a partner co-organizing this very important event. Dear colleagues, we presented on water resources, water consumption, growing, and water quality, water bodies has been deteriorating in areas in the world. These trends are being driven, largely by economic growth and population growth, industrialization, urbanization, above all, intensification of agricultural production. On top of that, will unfortunately worsen the situation because of the intensification of the hydrological cycle. And the latest report clearly highlighted the fact that climate change and water resources are intertwined, not separate. This issue of climate change really looking at the better way also to address water crisis. And we also know the central role of water connected to the other agenda 2030, all the related and also the agenda of health. In that regard, we realized that we need most data, science, sound science, in order to address in a meaningful way all those complex water challenges. Dear colleagues, as we all know, the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program has been at the forefront of hydrological sciences since many years, as you know, following the International Hydrological Day. And the program, as you know, moved from the unidimensional bringing progressively multidisciplinary approach, and now is considered transdisciplinary undertaking. This is very, very important. We know now that the solution to water problem is not only it's not only the issue of technique, it's an issue concerning social dimension, also economic dimension. So looking at water in a holistic way is the way forward. So this event is at the right time and in line with the new 9th phase of ASH, which was approved last year by the UNESCO's ASH Council and endorsed by the UNESCO General Conference in November. And the theme of the 9th phase of ASH is Science for a Water Secure World in the Changing Environment. Really, we are focusing on the critical importance of science, transdisciplinary science, for supporting member states in providing the knowledge base needed in addressing all those complex interrelated water challenges. So this 9th phase of ASH has 5 interrelated and intertwined priority areas and 34 output. And later on, we developed the operational implementation plan, which has now 150 key activities. So let me rapidly go through those 5 priority areas. The first priority area is on scientific research and innovation. And here I want to emphasize on that. The science and innovation will be considered all across the whole hydrological cycle in order to provide sound knowledge base to support member states in addressing those complex interrelated water challenges, because we cannot address them without sound science. The second priority area is on water education in the 4th industrial revolution, including sustainability. Here also, we know that we cannot address the issue of water resources if we are not bringing everybody on board. So we need to change the water culture at all levels. We need also to have new generation of water professionals who are capable of addressing the issue of water challenges in a holistic way. This is absolutely needed because we cannot continue to afford to have engineers looking at only issue related to putting pipelines and so on without looking at the global view of the water resources. The third priority area is on bridging the data knowledge gap. This is very critical. We cannot do first research without quality data. We cannot, of course, take decision without clear information. So here the point is that we need to make accessible the available data and the knowledge generated in order for member states to take decision on evidence base. In that regard, we will be promoting the open science. As you know, during the last General Conference, UNESCO member states approved the UNESCO recommendation on open science. And our program will be promoting the spirit and principle of open science. The fourth priority area is on integrated water resource management in the global change. Global change, not only climate change. So all the changes concerning issue within a river a basin having impact on the hydrological cycle, including land use, land cover, urbanization, migration, all those changes within the basin should be well considered so that appropriate tools and methodology can be provided for better integrated water resource management. The last priority area, and not the least, is on water governance. But this time, water governance based on science for mitigation, adaptation, and building resilience. Here also, we are looking at the concrete role of science in supporting member states to put in place sound policy and governance framework. Across all IHP 9, the novelty are many, but I can highlight some of the novelty. First, the transdisciplinary nature of all the approach. Across all the interventions, we look at transdisciplinary approach. Another novelty is, as I said, the open science framework will be deployed. The citizen science also is something which will be considering. All the new technologies, including artificial intelligence, also will be considered as element which can help to move forward science and also to capacitate appropriately member states. As you know, regarding ecohydrology, it has already been said since almost 25 years now, since IHP 5. The idea of ecohydrology has been growing progressively within the program, and it's clearly embedded all across IHP 9. If I look at the IHP 9 document, thanks to the great contribution of Professor Zalewski, he has been part of the expert of member state accompanying the preparation of IHP 9. The ecohydrology spirit is embedded within throughout IHP 9. And this is something I want really to recognize that great contribution of Professor Zalewski in the preparation of IHP 9. Our idea within IHP, in addition to the demo site, we want to expand through other UNESCO designated sites, biosphère reserves, geoparks, natural heritage sites, which are water related. We want to promote ecohydrological approach within those UNESCO designated sites. So that's really our ambition. So we are looking forward to work with you and to deploy all this approach within other UNESCO sites so that water resources can be managed in a holistic and ecosystem-based approach within those UNESCO designated sites. I want to finish with two messages which I believe that are also important. The first message is inclusiveness. We cannot address this issue of water challenges, complex water challenges, if you are not looking at the inclusivity of all stakeholders. But I want to highlight one of the key stakeholders which is not well considered, for which we need to do more work again on that, is concerning women in science. We need to fill the gender gap in the area of water sector. Because we all know the figures, only 17%, 17% workforce in the water sector are women. We have to change it. We know the key role water women and girls are playing. We have a figure also which coming from the water development report. Around 2 million hours per day are spent by girls and women to go to fetch water. So imagine if we are able to give water to everybody, those millions of hours, what can be done by using those hours for others. So I'm ready to stress, and we are ready within UNESCO. As you know, UNESCO gender is part of the two priorities of UNESCO. So we are looking forward to see what extent we can really advance on this issue of water and gender. My last point concerns the upcoming UN Water Conference. As you know, next March in New York, there will be a watershed moment for the whole world on water. There will be the second intergovernmental UN conference on water since the first one in 1977. So this is a huge, huge moment for us. We need as scientific community to work together to raise the profile of science, because we know as scientists, we know that those complex interrelated water challenges, we cannot address them in a meaningful way if we are not having sound science. So let's work together. We have been already engaged in discussion with Water Future. Professor Andrash is there. We have been working together with other partners to mobilize and to come out with the kind of science blueprint, water science blueprint to be considered for the UN Water Conference. But you, from your side, you can also do the same by linking up with your member state in contributing to raise the profile of science at the next UN Water Conference. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm really very pleased to see this movement on eco-hydrology and how things have evolved with time. And this is really the right way to go. And we at UNESCO, we are available in making this approach well known worldwide. And as I said, our ambition is really to go to all the UNESCO designated sites to develop the approach of hydrology. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the conclusion of this very important meeting, and I wish to you a successful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Amani. I must declare that we are thinking to prepare a special issue Ecohydrology journal where we synthesize all the work done during Symposium, but also the synthesis papers, which will be somehow submitted, maybe letter to science, something like that. And I'm very glad to say that we already have some experience with preparing such joint papers. Scientists, decision makers, with Director Bogucka-Szymalska, we prepared joint paper about ecohydrology and adaptation to climate change. So we will continue this way, and we will be working together, not only on solving problems, but also translating, explaining these things, our brainstorming results into publication. Now I have a pleasure to invite Director Monika Butryn, Niemiec-Butryn, to introduce her speech.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm really privileged to be here with you because I'm, as Professor Giuseppe said, humble civil servant, yeah? That was, yeah? Because we are with Director Bogucka-Szymalska, not exactly decision makers, but how to say, implementer of decisions, yeah, because the ministers made decision and they are policy makers. So it's really good to be here and to hear, to listen. You, distinguished guests, real scientists and people who know a lot about the ecohydrology. To be honest, I'm not hydrologist, but Małgosia is hydrologist, so I have really good help in department. To describe you how we work in Poland and how the water management looks like, I would tell you a few words, try to be short. You know probably that every country has got different scheme, and we also in Poland, our decision makers tried to have the best solution, how to cooperate and how to supervise the water management. So for many years, water management was in the Ministry of Environment. Since 2018, we are together before in the ministry responsible for maritime issues and inland navigation. And now we are all together in the Ministry of Infrastructure. So all infrastructure is in one hand of Minister of Infrastructure, who is responsible for transport, for water management, for maritime management, and of course of inland navigation. So our department is quite big because we have 10 units and we are responsible for transport and water management as well, what is not easy. And we have a lot of discussion inside even. But on the other hand, it's not easy for me as a director to coordinate. But on the other hand, it's very good to have this discussion, this inner discussion, because also with our colleagues who invited us here and very much welcome for this, for our professors. Sometimes we discuss a lot, but it's, I think, very fruitful because at the end we hope to have good results and to have really good water management in Poland. Because for us, of course, the most important issue and the most severe challenge is that we have not enough water in Poland. Probably you know that there are approximately 1,600 cubic meters of water per person per year. So that's indicator 3 times lower than the European average. And the volume of water retention is only about 6.5% of annual runoff. So it's a real challenge for us. And to address the challenges, the effort must be made at the all levels and by the all interested parties, as a public institution, private sector, society, and individual water users. And directions of Polish water policy is obviously coherent with international law. The core objective of the Polish water law is to achieve full compliance with the EU water policy, which aims to reach the good status of water resources for all river basins within the EU territory. And to show you what we are doing recently, we developed river basin management plans, which provide measures to achieve environmental objectives, such as good water status. There are also plans dedicated to tackle most severe natural disasters, like flood risk management plans, and plan for counteracting the effect of drought. To increase availability of drinking water, Poland developed a program of investment that will improve water security for human health and raise access to drinking water for most vulnerable communities. And the issue of access to sanitary facilities is regulated in National Urban Wastewater Treatment Program. And to address the concern of water retention, Poland carried out a water scarcity counteracting program. So we prepared a lot of programming strategic plans. Also, the activities carried out in cross-border agreements protect waters against transboundary pollution, increase flood security, and ensure data exchange. You know, Poland have a lot of neighbors, so we have to cooperate. We have to. That's really added value that we could even cooperate in international cooperation of transboundary waters and undertake effort to extend it to all borders. We have a lot of borders even on the rivers, so that's really a case, yeah. That's, I think, that the brief description how it is in Poland and what we are doing. Also, our challenge, as Professor Zalewski said, we tried to work with Dr. Dybowska-Stefek also, and try to have again navigability of our waters, because we have more than 3,700 kilometers of water. Of course, it's not for all of them prepare conditions to have navigation, but comparing our transport system and all things what they are doing now, what happened on global politics, I think it's really necessary, because that's less than 0.5% transported goods by the rivers. So we could improve the navigability and in very sustainable manners have it also added value on this. So thank you very much. I'm also privileged to be here because I finished postgraduate studies on the Polish Academy of Science on the European law, but still that's the privilege to be here. And I wish you a fruitful discussion and remarks. And thank you very much.
And now I think all the presentation provide a good perspective to our special guest, the coordinator, spiritus movens of the big European project, Water for All, which will be launched in just 2 months, I presume. And program is very special because first time we'll be integrating science, management, and water industry. Olivier, please tell us about it.
Thank you, Maciej. Dear hosts, dear representatives of UNESCO, dear chairman, dear participants, I'm very glad to be here today to connect your community to our waterfall initiatives. I'm hearing that this symposium has many common objectives with waterfall. Let me precise that I'm working with the French National Research Agency, which is coordinating the waterfall program under the auspices of the European Commission Horizon Europe Research Innovation Framework Program. So waterfall is about connecting the communities of research innovation on water in Europe and beyond. It's a co-funded partnership between the European Commission and the participating countries. We're gathering research and innovation funders together with policymakers, decision makers, implementers of decisions, but also research actors and networks representing the economic sectors. We've actually decided to launch our activities since last week, 1st of June, 2022, after some delay in launching the activities. To be honest, we are currently in preliminary phases and our activities will remain really concrete after summer indeed, where we should be launching our first call for projects. And we are pluriannual initiative. We should be fully active until 2028, and our last projects should last until 2031 or 32 perhaps. We are starting with more than 70 partners from 29 countries, mostly in Europe, but we also have a few countries beyond Europe. And as said, the aim of Waterfall is to concentrate the landscape of research innovation on water in Europe and beyond, and in particular the funding of research innovation. By this, we want to remedy the lack of continuity, the scattering of the community. We want to connect the actors from the people, the scientists who generate knowledge, to the end users, practitioners, decision makers that will make the use of these solutions. With this continuity bridging between the actors, we are aiming at systemic changes across the research innovation chains so that we can achieve in the long term water security for all. That's why the topic of the symposium today is really much in line with this objective of Waterfall. Obviously, this implies a holistic approach, cross-sectoral, encompassing various aspects from policy, society, economy, technology, obviously, aspects, and really want to go from the generation of knowledge to a transfer and its practical use. We are considering all aspects of fresh water, water for food production, water for energy, water as a spot to biodiversity, water for health, water in the city, water for transportation, natural risks related to water. So really considering all the uses of water, and you know that water is everywhere in our daily life, so a very broad approach. And we want to work across silos, so trying to make people aware that decisions on sectoral policies do have an impact on water management and have to consider this impact. So that's integrating the water impact in all sectoral policies is one of the objectives of Waterfall. We have developed a strategic research innovation agenda counting 7 main research innovation themes. Water for circular economy, smart allocation of water to the various economic uses. Water for ecosystems and biodiversity, the sustainable management of water resources, water and earth, the infrastructure for water, and 2 cross-cutting themes that are the international cooperation and the water governance. And again, well, obviously the theme of today's symposium is directly connected to our research theme 2 and 3, but it's also connected to water and earth, to the circular economy, and I've heard already the question about international cooperation and governance. So really much in line with what we are aiming to do. We will be addressing these issues through a variety of actions organized around 5 pillars. The first idea is to align the policies, the research innovation agendas at regional, national, European scale, so that we can build critical mass of knowledge, have people working in the same direction. Based on this joint vision and strategic direction, we will issue annual calls for projects, research innovation projects. So at least launching 1 call every year from 2022 to 2027. The third pillar of our activity is the interface with policymakers and end users, so how to transfer the knowledge to these actors. Pillar D is about demonstrating solutions on the field with a network of living labs, demonstration sites, and incentives to develop solutions connecting to investment programs. And the last pillar is about the international cooperation. Water challenges are global. If we want to achieve the sustainable development goals related to water, we have to work not only in Europe, but at global scale. Europe has a leading role to play in this effort, but we have to connect to the actors in many countries of the world and try to disseminate our solutions and have them taken up in as many countries as possible. So, as I said, the symposium today is very much connected to the objectives of Waterfall, and I feel you have really important questions to discuss in these 2 days. So, first question in my mind is how to transfer science into practice for delivering against the sustainable development goals. How to do it in a systemic way, how to address the interconnections between water resources, biodiversity, food, energy, ecosystem services, resilience to climate change, how to take account of these interconnections. How do we involve people concretely in the design, in the implementation and the uptake of research and innovation? Without society, we won't be able to meet the water challenges, so how to include them? How to demonstrate solutions at various scales and in various settings in Europe and in international countries. And the last point is how can this international collaboration speed up the uptake of knowledge and solutions? So really, you have a great program for these 2 days. We do have a great program for the next 6 or 10 years. So many works to do. I wish you a really fruitful meeting and happy to integrate your thoughts, your expectations, the results of your discussions in the design of our activities for coming months and years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think still, I think in the program we have one more connection. I don't know if technically we're ready to connect with Chairman of Polish UNESCO Committee.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Good morning. We are very honored that you are in the context of recent presentation, you will have a chairman of Polish UNESCO Committee will introduce us her talk. Floor is yours, please.
Hello. Do you hear me properly? Because yes, is it okay with the sound? Okay, thank you. So, on behalf of the President of the National Commission, Professor Kleiber, I would like to welcome you all on this event, which concerns global challenges of vital importance. I act as a Secretary General for over 1 year now, and I know how ecohydrology is important in terms of UNESCO programs, but also when it comes to building bridges between academia, stakeholders, and the general public. Water security requires interaction between scientific knowledge and policy making. It was today mentioned many times, and I, as a lawyer, I was really happy to see additional letters P and L, policy and the law. All aspects of human activities and the impact on environment have to be taken into consideration while addressing this issue. By this broad mandate, UNESCO offers the framework for reflection encompassing education, science, humanities, culture, communication, and information. Professor Zalewski already mentioned holistic view. This approach, taking the big picture, the bird-eye view, is of extreme importance, especially now. The UNESCO Intergovernmental Hydrological Program combines reflection on action for a water-secure world in a changing environment. It has just started its 9th phase, going until 2029. Awareness raising of all stakeholders and general public, preparing tailor-made campaigns are one of its expected outputs, results. Let me mention as an example of interdependence between water issue and cultural heritage. Cultural heritage buildings are affected by underground water. It may lead to destruction of historic buildings. Cooperation between researchers, hopefully, will enable to solve similar problems where investments, definitely climate change, together with water changes, affect cultural heritage. In this guise, the interdisciplinary approach is inevitable. The notion of sustainability is a key highlight of several agendas aiming to support development, security, resilience, and peace. Ecohydrology, with its unique concept of crucial importance regarding both biological or natural sciences aspects and solutions, and those connected to foresight, policies, social practices, mentality, and awareness. And I must add, based on Polish National Commission for UNESCO experience, it has been developed for years by the practice of the host entity, the European Regional Center for Ecohydrology, run by Professor Zalewski. In our view, the ERCE has been an important contributor to the promotion and strengthening of the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary approaches within UNESCO itself, ecohydrology being interdisciplinary per se. Professor Rowiński, president of the Polish Academy of Science, he mentioned the role of scientific or associations as founding fathers of universities in Poland. This is our history. Such associations were established not only in Warsaw, but in Łódź, where the host university of the Ecohydrology Center is, in Poznań, in Bouc. I am strongly convinced that Category 2 centers, together with UNESCO chairs and UNITWIN program and network, are the entities to deal with ongoing challenges and somehow complement and taking the role of associations at the national level. Here, going international and more transdisciplinary. Ecohydrology as a research are developing a particular practical attitude towards seeking solutions of complex issues at the crossroad of access to water, water economy, environment protection, and social development. We had a fantastic presentation of policymakers, of implementators, yes, the facilitators, how to implement the EU law regarding water resources management. There are, as mentioned by Director Monika Niemiec-Butryn, there are so many different opportunities, so many options and systems how to manage water resources, and each country has to tailor it to its own specificities. The ecohydrology promotes the involvement of extra academic stakeholders in research planning, research implementation, and results assessment. Thus, opening up the scientific life to transdisciplinary approaches also helps to understand the process occurring nowadays in our environment. I would like to wish you an excellent conference. I know that organizing a hybrid conference from my own experience is a great challenge right now because we have shifted from online to hybrid mode, but I'm 100% sure that with such a fantastic organizational committee, it will be a huge success. Thank you once more.
By this introductory lecture, we're coming to the keynote lecture, which really will show us the perspective. A special session on HP, development, evolution, will be started by keynote lecture by Professor Andrzej Sołosinowicz, who will tell us how to accelerate, why to accelerate the progress toward SDG and concerning the water.